Back when I was in seminary school, there was a person there who put forth the proposition that you can petition the Lord with prayer. Petition the Lord with prayer. Petition the Lord with prayer. You cannot petition the Lord with prayer. If you don't know what that's from, you're missing out. So this video, guys, spells verse prayers, was inspired by my friend Zabora over at Kemetic Witchcraft. And I wanted to take some time to kind of address that from the Gaelic polytheist point of view. And I'm sure it's going to vary person to person, tribe to tribe, organization to organization, but her stance on it, coming from her tradition, I thought was a little bit different than ours. But I won't ruin that for you. If you want to check out what she had to say, I will link it in below. So, buttons in your underwear. What do we have going on tonight? Some Founding Fathers Virginia blend that I made in this nice custom Algerian briar that was locally made. Isn't she a beauty? She's a beauty. Why do we do that? You know, Mother Earth and my car, she is gorgeous, and this pipe, and maybe it's for beauty. Maybe it's how men talk about beauty. I don't know. But in spells and prayer work, Zabora said something like she pictures us wearing robes, chanting, dancing around a fire in the middle of the woods. I said, well, yeah, you know, you're not too far off, but I'd like to examine that a bit further. Because, you know, it does have some stereotypical imagery happening there. First pipe of the day. So, I think all too often we're coming from this trying to define these things from a very Western cultural American, or I would even dare say English point of view, or cultural examination of these terms, of trying to define them. We compartmentalize these things because we're not thinking within the culture's mindset. We're thinking as an American. We're thinking as, you know, an American that speaks English, and we've been ruled by the English for how long? We're not thinking in a Gaelic mindset. We're not thinking, you know, in a Celtic mindset. If you could think in a Celtic mindset. I think it's a danger if we try to say, well, this is what defines a spell, and this is what defines a prayer. And we separate them. I think it does an injustice in a way. It's kind of like how we separate, well, I was dreaming, but then I'm awake. How do I know that I'm really awake? Well, there's certain things that I feel that are tangible, that these laws of physics obey this and that and this reality, and then that reality is different because it has its own rules, but they can cross over. They can be more fluid than we think they are. They're not as concrete as we think they are. So a spell versus a prayer, you might be aimed to be on the path to think that it's just something as simple as asking for something, or commanding, or demanding, petitioning. There's all these words you can use for either. You could say, well, a spell has this criteria, and a prayer has this, but a prayer also has a little bit of that, and the spell has a little bit of that. So, this idea that we all wear robes and dance around a bonfire in the middle of the woods, singing and chanting and dancing. Well, sure. These things go back to the Indo-European, you know? The concept of having a central fire at a place is very important. Very, very important. A central fire. The fact there would be singing, dancing, or chanting around the fire with movement, very Indo-European. We know that our ancestors did these things. We know, like, well, a classic example of Catholicism being pagan is you have, these people that go to an ancient Iron Age holy well. And the holy well is now dedicated to Saint Blippity Bloppity, right? Here's your saint, run-of-the-mill, healing, feminine water deity saint now. So the Catholics go there. They take their shoes off, and they walk around the well 9 times, sunwise, clockwise, now chanting the rosary. How is that any different than what people probably did before them? Now it's a saint before it was a goddess. Now it's the rosary before it was probably a chant or a spell or a prayer for that specific place. A place that is a central point, circumambulation, movement, clockwise, singing, dancing. Think of the maypole. Another example. Albeit not a Celtic one, but you can still see the imagery there. Phallic symbol, inside of Mother Earth, Sky Father meets Earth Mother. Red and white ribbons. Red and white. Those are the common ones. Red and white. I'm pretty sure you guys be able to put your finger on that one. We're going to dance around this. We're going to go clockwise. We're going to weave in and out. We're going to braid the pole. And then we're going to have a giant festivity. Festivities, parties, celebrations. What are we doing at these celebrations? Well, it's fertility. You figure it out. I don't think there should be such a separation. Spell, prayer. Spells go back to spelling, the use of grammar, the use of the language to spell. I'm going to make a spell. It was chanting and poetry. They're using words. They're going to chant. What's another good word for chanting? Enchanted. This place is enchanted. To chant. Here's my dog to chant. Hooterity hoo, odorio hio, hooterity hoo, odorio hio, oh hio hio. Oh, no, wait, that's not how it goes. No, I'll start from a different point. Dog d'amore, ho hoo, hooterity hoo, hoo, fesha, he ho hoo hoo, hootery hoo, odorio heo, yoki ola hara ho hoo, hootery hoo, odorio heo. That's my Dagda chant. Now, what makes it special is we are calling on the Dagda by his different names. We all hold hands in a circle around a central point. We all use it as it's based on a walking song. And if you know anything about the walking of the wool, hootery hoo, odorio heo, hootery hoo, odorio heo. You walk the wool on the table. It was a walking song, Waulking. Well, why not take a walking song where it's working the wool, that's a weaving, and weave the Dagda's name together. And as we do this, we hold hands and we make the movements of walking the wool as we move Jeshal around a fire, an altar. So yeah, is that a chant? Sure, it's a song. Is it a spell? Well, we're spelling out his name in a way. Is it an invocation? Is it a react? What is it? See, it's hard to define these things, you know? Spells often use props, things, candles, writing something out, reading it over and over again, burning it, offering it up, burying it, putting it in the fire, putting it down the stream for the water. Some spells use things, a witch's ladder, or, things of tying of knots, and there's different types of spell work that are traditional or even in modern paganism. There's different and spells generally are like prayers. It's like a spell is a prayer but has a focus that has things added to it, extra ingredients, if you will. You could say that about spells, where a prayer might be something more on the spot, spontaneous poetry. You're somewhere and it's just, it moves you, so you have some sort of blessing, or sometimes a prayer can just simply be communication with deity, but a specialized. It's not just like you're having a conversation. Sometimes people use prayers for asking of things, which I don't think is always necessarily the right thing to do. Asking for help or asking for healing, or let's use our wits. Let's use, science. I am very sick, so I'm going to pray to, very sick meaning like I have a cold or a flu or something. So I'm asking for healing. How about we just pump our bodies full of the right foods and nutrients, or up our vitamin C or zinc or echinacea, or, let's use what, we were taught by the ancient ancestors to put in our bodies, so to avoid that sickness in the first place. There's no need to be calling on Brit because you're sick and using the, Bridget's cloak or Bridget's mantle, her brat. That's for a different thing. That's for when you're sick, and prayer is necessary. And that's a point. Is your prayer necessary? Why are you just being such a chatty Cathy with the gods? You don't need to pray to your ancestors. You can talk to your ancestors. But there's got to be some sort of difference between having a chat or dialogue with your ancestors, or even the gods if you want, versus a prayer. asking for assistance. You know, guard and guide me in all that I do, blah, blah, blah. Sure. I generally think that prayers are suited best when they're not for yourself. You know, friend comes to visit. He's from like, I got a hair in my mouth. He's from like a long ways away, so you go out and you bless his car. And you do a blessing over him and over his vehicle. Of which I have my own way that I do that. But you pray over him, you pray over her, or the family, and over the vehicle of transportation to see them home safe, Slanowalia. It's hard to define spells versus prayers. When does a poem become a song? When we sing it. When does a prayer become a spell? When we do it. When there's actual active energy to cause transformation and manifestation. Work needs to be done. You want change to happen, work has to happen first. So I guess that's the difference between a spell and a prayer. Prayer, there's no action. Prayer can be silent. Spells should not be silent. We offer with our wonderful words and our beautiful deeds out loud from breath. I guess that's the major differences. I don't know. We'll chat to you guys soon. I think that's all I have on this. I'm sure there might be more. And if there's more, I'll jot it down. I'll do a part 2 sometime. Have a good night. Iowa. Slangafol. Cheers.